Hello and good night, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Northway Basketball Podcast. It's been a little while. The last episode we had Mike Lafrican on, and I'm currently preparing for vacation. I'll be away for 10 days from January 10th to 20th. But I'll still be working. I'll still be watching film. I'll still be making calls. I'll still be helping with recruiting. And before I go, I thought I'd just leave you guys with some free game. So, you know, before I go on vacation, I just wanted to leave you guys some advice and some updates. We recently launched the Top 50 Camp. I'm super excited about that initiative. We've been talking to a lot of people who are going to make this thing a really good event for Canadian basketball. I'm just connecting with NBA teams, NCAA schools, youth sports schools, all over, man. Like, there's going to be something for everybody. I think this is something you don't want to miss if you are invited. I think this has potential to change your life. So everyone who's involved thus far, everyone who's been supporting that, I just want to say thank you, man. Just to be able to be in a position to, you kind of push Canadian basketball forward. Like, I'm lost for words, man. This is a big dream, and we're gonna make this happen. So we have a lot of amazing updates to hit you guys with, and we'll update you as things come. Yeah, man, this is gonna be special, bro. So those who do get the invite, I'm looking forward to seeing you there. And if you haven't made it, don't be discouraged. This doesn't define you. This doesn't mean you're not going anywhere, because we're not perfect either. We're just trying to do the best we can. And maybe you're not good enough. Even if you're not, just keep working, bro. This doesn't define the rest of your career. This is not the end all be all, right? So be on the lookout for updates. If you haven't already, follow the Northway Top 50 Camp at Northway Top 50 on Instagram. And if you can't find it, just go to the Northway main page and tap in our biography. They'll say the Northway Top 50 Camp. So, I've been doing a lot of, work in recruiting lately, just been on the phones a lot, talking to schools, talking to NBA programs. And I thought that I'd just give you guys some free game on recruiting and kind of expand on the little clip I put on Instagram, because obviously recruiting has changed significantly. And what does that mean for you? How does that impact you? Well, there's a couple things I want to address here. And I think these things will all apply to anybody that you can take with you. The first thing is that you need to have a plan, all right? You need to have a plan of what you're trying to accomplish and how you'll get there. You need to have key performance indicators. You can use things like ChatGPT to help you create a framework around that. And it's important, man. A plan is everything. If you don't have a plan, you don't have a direction. And if you don't have a direction, you're kind of shooting in the dark, right? So a lot of kids want to go Division I, but they don't understand what that means as far as schoolwork, as far as the things you have to do on a daily basis to improve your game, improve your body, the type of coaching you need, the people you need in your circle. Every successful person who's made it far has a great team around them. And I think it's important for you guys to study those who came before you, right? So you can increase and maximize your potential for success. So with that said, another key pillar, which is number 2, is mentorship, right? There's so many people in Canadian basketball who succeeded at a high level. They may not have made it to the NBA. They may not even made it to Division I. That could have been for whatever reason. It could have been injuries. It could have been, grades. It could have been lack of opportunity. There's so many different factors, but I think it's so important to have mentorship. If you don't have the right people around you giving you gems and the right information, it's going to be hard for you to make it to where you're trying to go. Because you could ask Joe Blow, who has no experience at all, or your parent who may not have played basketball or doesn't have, certain connections or information available, and they won't really know the best way to help you. So be curious, seek out mentors. They could be someone on YouTube. I mean, these NBA players speak freely now about their journeys and their careers, and you could take a lot from their careers and apply it to yours. So there really is no excuse not to know. So the information is there, right? There's locally in each city, there's a Canadian guy who accomplished a lot, who you don't know or you may know, you may be scared to ask, or a Canadian woman, right? And I think it's essential for you to seek out mentors. They really can really like maximize your chances of making it by helping you avoid the mistakes they made, or putting you in touch with so and so, or helping you, improve your work ethic, or helping you make a plan. Like, these are important people you need around you. 3, you need to be in touch with reality, right? I've had the pleasure of speaking to some parents, some kids, and some of them are in touch and some of them aren't, and I mean that in the most respectful way possible, because and this is why mentorship is key, because your mom or dad obviously is going to do the best they can to help you get to where you want to get. However, that doesn't mean they know what it takes to get there, or the best way and the best situations to put you in, which is why you have coaches. And you got to filter coaches too, who you can trust. Look at track record, look at things they've accomplished, look at all those things, right? So you can make an informed decision about who you put yourself in front of and who you trust with driving or steering the car of your career per se, right? In touch with reality, okay? If you don't work on your game on a regular basis, that is something where I'm speaking about reality, all right? Like, and I mean like between 5 to 7 days a week outside of practice, outside of your games, by yourself, do you work on your game? Because if we look at the expansion of basketball now, you're not only competing with other Canadians, you're competing with Americans. And New York alone has over 30 million people. Canada as a whole has 30 million people. So now let's add up all those states and let's increase the pool here. So that's North America. Europe has been on a wave lately producing talent. So now let's look at Europe and all those countries that have been producing players at a high level of talent. So now we've got North America and we've got Europe. Now let's look at Africa, where the NBA is making a strong push to get into Africa. All right. Now let's look at China, where the NBA is also making a strong push to get into China, and they have billions of people there. So now, if we do things by the number, the chances of you getting a scholarship, forget the NBA, is very low, given the stats. And now let's add NIL, let's add, JUCO, let's add the transfer portal rules that have significantly changed recruiting and everything, right? So you have all that working against you, right? So if you're not working accordingly, if you don't have a daily routine, if you don't have things a detailed plan of getting to where you want to go and things that you want to accomplish and work on your game on a daily basis, you are not in touch with reality. If you don't know what grades you need to accomplish, if you are not in tune with the NCAA clearinghouse, if that's something you need to do. If you don't understand SATs, these are things, and ACTs, these are things you need to do. If you don't understand how prep schools work, if you need to go, if you don't need to go, if you don't understand AAU, if you don't understand all of these avenues to the best of your abilities, then you're not, seeking out knowledge. You don't have the right people around you. I think it's pretty ignorant to say that you're on the right path, and that is the matter of reality. So, humbly approach this thing you're trying to accomplish, this massive goal, and stay in touch with reality. Keep people around you who are going to keep it real with you and tell you when you're wrong and tell you when you're right. Because your parents, they may be paying X amount of dollars, and sometimes that can come with entitlement. Parents can be entitled, kids can be entitled, and we need to eliminate that at all costs. Just because you pay a fee, that doesn't guarantee your son or daughter will make it to where they're trying to go. At the end of the day, the work never lies, and that's all that really matters, all right? If you do not put in the work on a daily basis, it's going to be tough. And I mean, outside of your school practice, outside of your AAU practice, it's going to be very tough for you to accomplish what you're trying to accomplish, right? So be sure you keep a circle of real people around you who will always tell you the truth. That's number 3. Number 4, let's talk about skill work, right? We know some of the things they want, Division 1 schools, Division 2 schools, NAIs, whatever you're looking to, youth sports. You have to be, as a guard, able to dribble at an elite level. You have to be able to defend at an elite level. You have to be able to shoot at an elite level, right? You also have to have an elite IQ. So if you don't have 2 to 3 of those things at a high level, it's going to be harder for you. And the shorter you are, the harder it is. The taller you are with maybe 2 or 3 of those things, they can sharpen tools and take more of a chance on you, because obviously a 6'5" point guard is way more attractive than a 5'10" point guard. So if you are 5'10", 6 foot and below, you better be watching guys like Fred VanVleet, Chris Paul. What makes them elite? How can I stand out? How can I defend? How can I play with a chip on my shoulder? How can I minimize the mistakes I'm going to make on this court to ensure that I have an elite impact on this game? And if you are anywhere from 6'5" to 6'9" and you play on the wing, okay, can I shoot the ball well? Can I defend? Do I have a high motor? Do I talk a lot? Do I run the floor hard? Can I rebound in traffic? Am I tough up here, right? Not just here, but up here, right? Because everyone says who's a dog and who's not a dog. Being a dog is not just about, I'm ready to fight, right? But it's, are you mentally tough like this guy behind me, right? When things get tough, are you able to compose yourself and make sound decisions for yourself and your teammates? That's number 4. That's part of a skill. I'm breaking down skill set. This is point number 4, all right? And then are you, as a big, depending on what type of big you are, you could be a traditional big who's a back-to-basket guy, or you could be a run-the-floor big who's a pick-and-roll guy, pick-and-pop guy. You rebound well, you block shots, you can switch out on the pick-and-roll. Or maybe you can as a big and you got to play in drop coverage all the time, and you play with your back to the basket. Maybe you love your jump hooks, babel hooks. Maybe you crash the glass hard. I do not know. However, there are some guys at every level, whether it's the NCAA, NBA, Europe, who you can look to model your game after, who excel at an elite level, right? You don't have to necessarily be athletic. You can have a high IQ. There's so many case studies where you could take attributes from guys' games and build your own player and build it into your game. So study the game, watch film, and be sure to apply it to yourself. And number 5, which is, I'd say, is just important. The 5th and most important things when it comes to, your career and trying to get to where you're trying to go is just navigating exposure, right? There's this verse in the Bible that I'll summarize in Proverbs, talks about, like, basically don't put yourself at the front of a very fancy wedding unless you're called up there. But it's an analogy that tells people, do not put yourself in a place of high status unless you're called up there. So what I mean is, if you are paying for prep school, right, but you necessarily weren't invited there, right? Someone didn't come and recruit you. They might have recruited you with a price, because this is a business as well, but you may not be good enough. And you're upset about playing time and opportunity and things of that nature. It's because you put the cart before the horse. And I mean this in the most respectful way. And I mean this out of love. It's so important for you not to put yourself in these places to pay to get on these elite AAU teams or these prep programs. And I'm not trying to take money out of no one's pocket or discourage anyone, but, get places off of merit, not off of the dollar. The dollar can get you in the door. It can't keep you there, right? At the end of the day, you're always going to have to perform, right? And, someone's going to have an opinion of you, and they're going to say, oh, that wasn't earned, or this was earned, whatever the case may be. Every situation is different, but you have to know that for yourself. I don't know, everyone's situation, and I'm not going to comment on that, but I just want to give you guys advice. Do not go to somewhere unless you have earned that spot through merit, right? Pay to play only works so far, right? At some point, you're going to have to show up and show out, right? Or you get exposed. And I would rather that not happen for you. So those are 5 tips I'm going to leave you with that could definitely help you, right? And lastly, before I leave, I want to leave you guys with another piece of advice. There's so much more information. I pride myself in kind of like democratizing all this stuff, because, a lot of people want to keep this to themselves. They want to keep this a secret, obviously, because information is power, leverage is power. power is money, etc., etc. So I try to give people as much free game as possible because I would have loved to hear a lot of these things growing up. Some people had support, some people don't, right? And, it's tough, right? But seek out the information. It's all there. If it's not online, it's in your community, it's in your city. There's somebody you can talk to who can help you navigate your career. And with that said, we will be launching a digital platform. I have no desire to be a trainer, so please don't even think this has anything to do with training. It's called the Northway Basketball Academy. And what we're going to be doing is educating young hoopers on what it takes to get to the next level. And we're going to have a lot of exclusive content and information to educate you and your parents and help you maximize your potential of making it to the next level, right? I have the privilege to speak to coaches in the NCAA, to speak to NBA personnel, to speak to NBA agents, to speak to people who work in the industry, whether on the business side, coaches, whatever. It's been a blessing. So who would I be now not to take this information and give it back to you? I think that the Northway Basketball Academy, which is a digital platform, not for skill training, but for education, will help you maximize your potential and your chances of getting to where you're trying to go, right? Because again, you don't want to be driving a car with no direction. And what we're going to do here is help you maximize your potential and maximize your chances of achieving your goals, whatever that may be. NBA, Europe, U Sports, Division One, D2, NCAA, NAI, whatever, right? If you do not have information, it is very hard to get to where you're trying to go. So if you haven't, go on Instagram, follow the Northway Basketball Academy, click the link in the bio and sign up so you can get knowledge of the latest release of the Northway Basketball Academy and you can get access, right? So we have more episodes on the way for the podcast, some more exciting things coming for the platform. I cannot wait to tell you guys, man, there's just so much materializing and, God is good. So if you rock with the Northway, if you rock with what we're doing, please feel free to hit follow on Instagram at the Northway, Twitter, TikTok. Follow me on Instagram at Kayon Mirrors, Twitter. I'm there, bro. And don't be afraid to shoot me a DM if you need some help, if you need to, figure things out, if your mom or dad asks questions, whatever the case may be. If I can't answer it, I'll direct you to someone who can. But, I'm going to do my best to hand out free game and help you guys realize your dreams. So with that said, I appreciate you guys listening to another episode, and I'll see you in Barbados. Have a good night. It's like 1 a.m. right now. I just, got a rush of inspiration to come out here and, just hand out some free game. So don't mind the hat. My head is just not in a good state right now. You see the beard is almost full. I got to get a haircut tomorrow, as I will be traveling to, the Caribbean, one of my favorite spots in the world, Barbados. Shout out to Barbados, Rihanna, Rupi. You know how it goes. But again, thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Northway Basketball Podcast. Follow us on all our platforms, Spotify, podcast, YouTube, Twitter, all that stuff. Have a good night.